This is the follow-up video on the iMac Pro where I answer the question, was the upgrade worth it for me? Before I get into that, I just want to tell you what my next video is going to be about, and that'll be my tech junk room where I set up my 2012 Mac Pro as a Plex server. Hi, I'm Mike in Peoria, and this is a follow-up video to one I did a couple of weeks ago on upgrading from my 2013 4-core trash can Mac Pro to the new iMac Pro. Now, when I posted the first video a couple weeks ago, my initial impressions were I was really pleased with how fast the new iMac was, particularly at multi-core applications like Final Cut Pro. I was using 10.4. where it was quite a bit faster, maybe a third faster than my Mac Pro. Since the last video, I've run two other benchmarks. One, I didn't really expect a big difference. It's copying files from an SD card onto the hard drive of, or the SSD of each of the computers. Now, hard drive speed is not the limiting factor on an SD transfer, so I didn't really expect a big difference, and in fact I didn't get one. I copied 23 gigs off of an SD card onto the 2013 Mac Pro using a USB 3 SD card adapter, and it took 4 minutes and 8 seconds. I did the same thing on the iMac using the card slot built into the iMac, and it took 4 minutes and 4 seconds, so essentially unchanged. The second new benchmark that I ran was with a program that I personally wrote, so it's not one that may be meaningful to you, but I thought it would be a reasonable measure of single core performance, because when I wrote this program it's not optimized for multiple cores. So what I had to do is make thumbnails of actually 320 by 240 pixel thumbnails of a folder of 725 JPEGs, and then write the thumbnails out to a file or to a folder. On the 2013 Mac Pro, that took 42 seconds. On the iMac Pro, it took 31 seconds, and that's about a 25% improvement. And that's pretty close to the improvement that you see in single core performance when you look at Geekbench. I think the 4-core Mac Pro was about 3760 on Geekbench, and the new iMac Pro 8-core is a little over 5,000. So that's pretty consistent, and so I saw that real world. Now, on other applications, things that are not so processor intensive, you know, web browsing, using Microsoft Office, basically the feel, the snappiness, the responsiveness of the user interface all felt pretty similar. I didn't really see a big improvement, and I didn't really expect one. Both are pretty reasonably fast processors and can handle that kind of work pretty easily. Now, 2 weeks ago, when I did the first review, the one concern I had with the new iMac was actually getting used to the screen. Right here is on the right-hand side is the Dell 3415. It's a 34-inch diagonal monitor. It's the 21 by 9 form factor, so very elongated. And the 27-inch iMac Pro, while a lot higher resolution, is physically smaller. And I really liked the Dell monitor. I've been using it for, I think, about a year, and I really like it. I had the 4K 32-inch Sharp monitor before, and I didn't really care for that, and I ended up replacing it with this Dell. So I did the first week with just the iMac Pro and no second monitor, and I found that I got used to The new monitor, the slightly smaller size, actually pretty easy, and it's just a fantastic screen. And so during the second week of owning the iMac, I followed a suggestion, one of the comments from the prior video, and I put the Dell monitor as a second monitor on the desk with it. The person commented that, hey, you have enough desk space, you know, run both monitors. And that is the case. I was a little worried about space because I listen to a lot of music on this setup, and it has a fantastic sound system. I'm running Harbeth P3 ESR speakers through a New Force MDA amp. I listen to music a lot on this thing. I'm on it a lot, I use it a lot, and I listen to music most of the time. And I'm kind of particular about how the music sounds. And I didn't want the monitors to get in the way of kind of the near-field experience of those speakers. But as you can see, I was able to bring the speakers a little bit further forward, and I have a pretty good straight shot at me. They're a little further forward than ideal. I'm a little closer to them. The sort of stereo sound stage is not quite as good as it was before when they were a little further back on the desk, but not bad. It's not a problem. The second issue that I had with putting both speakers on the desk is where they would come together in the middle. What I didn't want is to be staring straight ahead at sort of the seam between the two monitors. I kind of like the idea of looking straight ahead and seeing a fantastic monitor. But in using it for the past week, although it's just a slight bit to my left, it's not a problem. In fact, the right third of the Dell monitor is right in front, and so if I'm working on a Word document or an email, I can have it right in front of me. What I didn't expect was the quality of the iMac display. I thought the Dell display was a great monitor. I thought the resolution, the color, I liked everything about it. The problem is when you put it next to the iMac display, and I did my best to calibrate both monitors to be as close as I could get them. The iMac monitor, I mean, it just blows the Dell monitor away. I mean, it's not even close. The quality of the iMac display is just so much better. When I have both monitors up here, I've found myself over the past week, you know, hardly using the Dell side of it at all. I think it would come in handy, you know, it will come in handy when I edit this video on Final Cut Pro. I can put the timeline on the right and all the tools and clips and such on the left. That'll be great. But outside of that, I don't think I would. I'm going to benefit a lot from two monitors, and my thinking right now is that I'm going to use the Dell for another purpose and just use the iMac monitor on my desk setup. It's attractive, it's a little more compact, it's neat and tidy. I think it's going to work out perfectly. So the bottom line, and the question I have to ask myself, was it worth it to upgrade? I mean, this setup cost about $5,500 including sales tax. It's the $49.99 iMac plus $50 for the trackpad plus exorbitant Illinois sales tax. So almost $5,500 to upgrade from a 2013 trash can Mac Pro. And so I have to ask, was it worth it? And I think the logical answer, you know, the logical answer is no. The speed improvement on multi-core applications, if you have a continual use case for that, if you're doing a lot of video, I think the answer is yes, it's absolutely worth it. If you're going to do some video, and myself, I do probably a couple of videos a week, some for YouTube, some for other purposes, and they're probably 10 minutes long each, and the export of that is, you know, less than 15 minutes or less. And so saving 5 minutes or 10 minutes on an export of a, you know, encoding and exporting of a video, when you do it that infrequently, it's probably not worth it. And for the other tasks that I use the computer for, I don't feel that much of a difference. So objectively, I have to say, for my use case, it probably wasn't economically worth it. But I don't have buyer's remorse. I'm happy that I did it. And that's because I like having a fast machine. The monitor, the screen, in the beginning I thought it was going to be a negative. It's turned into a massive positive. I probably could have got the same thing on the regular iMac without going to the Pro because the screen is the same. But it's fabulous. And the all-in-one on the desktop, I like. So no buyer's remorse. I'm happy I did it. If I had to do it all over again, I would. But it's more emotional, I think, than logical. So that's it. Thanks for watching the video to the end. And remember, the next update I'm going to do is probably going to be in a couple of weeks. Whoa, I got a storm brewing outside. And it's going to be on my 2012 Mac Pro, the big aluminum Mac Pro. About a few weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, I set it up as a server inside our house and installed Plex, and I'll do a walkthrough on how that happened and what that's like. So thanks again for watching, and please subscribe.